Good morning, friends. As I've been, meditating on this whole idea of forgiving, I realized, and it came up in me, that really, when it comes down to it, forgiveness and forgiving is a matter of discipline and obedience, and that God calls us to obey Him by forgiving, and by obeying, He's not saying get down, give me 25. What He's saying is, I am calling you to do these things because they are leading your life into greater and further levels of freedom and greater and further levels of maturity and Christ likeness. And so we do these things because they're really the best thing for us. And so, but what I have found, and I think you've found this too, is that when the Holy Spirit is actually calling us to obey God on something, that so frequently I call it the obedience squirm, that we squirm in this whole idea of obedience. And then a lot of times we will squirm, and then we'll try to hem and haw, and we'll stall out. We'll give all these hesitancies to actually obeying what God is saying. But God is calling you and I to obey Him, not because He wants something bad for us or to take something from us, but to help us to walk in greater and further amounts of freedom. And so that stall, that squirm, that hesitancy to obey God is actually hurting us. And so I want to take these next few reflections and talk about some different dimensions that God is calling us into obedience, and how we squirm and try to squirm out of it, but we need to squirm ourselves into it instead of out of it. The squirm of obedience. Think for a moment with me today. What are you squirming where God has actually kind of prompted you in one way or another that you need to obey Him and you haven't done it yet? What is that? We'll talk about that some more tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me. I love you. God bless you.